Standards Practice Week 14. Just as a reminder, it might look a little bit different than the paper copy or the one that you get electronically, but if you actually take it on Teams, this is what it looks like. But the questions are the same. This might have just a different answer approach. But if you're doing the paper copy, just write what I have on here and you'll still get full credit. So number 1, what is the simplified form of the exponential expression seen below? So here's our exponential expression. What it's looking for is you to get rid of these negative exponents. So the negative exponents means that you're going to change on to positive, but by doing that you're going to flip them to the other side of your fraction bar that's understood to be right underneath it. If the exponent is positive, you're going to leave it exactly where it is. So x to the third stays on top. So x to the third. And then 6 to the negative 2. It was up here with the x to the third, but now I'm going to move it down here and change it to a positive exponent. And same thing from y to the negative fifth. I'm going to move it down to the bottom and make it positive. One of these versions is equivalent to this. You need to know what 6 squared is and be very careful. It's not 6 times 2, it's 6 times 6. Number 2. Let's see. Write the expression seen below in exponential form. Well, I can write each individual piece in exponential, so all of this on the first part, that's the same thing as 5at to the fourth, all raised to the, since that's a 3 on the outside, that's raised to the 1/3. And the other one is 25a squared, all raised to the 1/3. Now, since all of this is raised to the same exponent, I can actually combine what's in the inside by multiplying them. So 5 times 25 is 125. A to the first and a squared make a to the third. And then this is the only t, so t to the fourth, and all of that is raised to the 1/3. And so I can do each individual part to the 1/3. So 125 to the 1/3. A to the 3 times the 1/3, and t 4 times the 1/3. Well, 125 to the 1/3 does actually simplify. It is actually 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So this would just be 5. So what number times itself 3 times gives you 125? This is just the reverse. So if I did 5 cubed, it'd give me 125. 125 to the 1/3 gives me 5. 3 times 1/3. Well, 3 times 1 is 3. Divided by 3 is 1. So this is a to the first. 4 times 1 divided by 3, I can't simplify. So that's t to the 4, still over 3. And only one of these is equivalent to this. And remember, you don't always see the 1 when there's an exponent of 1. It might just say a instead of a to the first. Let's check out number 3. Simplify the expression below and type your final answer in the space provided. No rational exponent should be in your final answer, which means there should be no exponents as fractions. Alright, so this is all multiplying together. So I'm just going to multiply the regular numbers without the exponents together, so there's an understood 1 here. So 4 times 2 times 3 times 1. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 times 1 is just 24. Now let's just do the g's. When you're multiplying things with the same base, that means you add your exponents. So 1/3 plus 2/3. Well, in case you forgot, 1/3 plus 2/3. As long as they have like denominators, you can add the numerator. So that's just 3/3, which is the same thing as 1. So that's g to the 1. And then now let's see the h's. H to the 3/5 and h to the 1/5. So I have 3/5 and I have 1/5, which equals 4/5. So that's h to the 4/5. So it said no rational exponents, which means I don't want this fraction as an exponent, so I need to write it as a radical. These are fine, so I'm going to leave them just like they are, 24g. Since the fraction is the fifth, that means that's my index outside of my radical. So when you type it in, make sure you have the radical bar with an empty space right here, and you're going to type the number 5 there. And then h to the 4th. And then you'll type this as your answer. Be careful, this 5th goes with the radical, not with the g. If you want to put g to the 1st, you'll get still full credit. If you leave it just as g, you'll still get full credit. So either answer. Okay, next question. Number 4. Your classmate writes that for all real numbers x and y and b is greater than 0, that the following statement is true. Is your classmate correct? So all this saying is we're not going to take into account negative exponents or negative numbers for b. We're just going to do positive, so I'm not worried about negatives. Alright, so it wants to know, is this equal to this? Well, on this side, since there's a negative exponent, that means I would flip it over and make it positive. And on this one, it has x and y separated by these parentheses with no two bases. So this is equal to 1 over x times y. So b times x times y. Well, are these equivalent? Is 1 over b raised to the xy the same as 1 over b to the xy? That's your answer.